All right, just waiting. See you on Patreon. I think we are live now. I think we are live now. I'm just waiting for people to get in. Waiting for people to put the link up here. Hey, y'all. Good morning. I just put the link up in case anybody wants to cam up with me to ask some questions, share something, maybe get some insight on something, because this is our official clubhouse meeting today, and this is what we do here. We talk about things, help each other solve problems. That's the point of Patreon. That's the point of all the work that I do, and I appreciate you all for being here so early. Let me see if anybody else is going to get in here. So today is a wellness check. I want to check in with everybody to see if everyone's okay. How can I assist, as well as talk about changing your reality, healing, as always, because that is the point of it all. If you're not healed, if you're in pain, if you're hurting, then what's the point of having money or relationships or status or fame if you're not feeling good about yourself? So I think the foundation of everything that you want should come ideally from feeling a little bit better about yourself. You can relate to people better. You can spend your money better. People will like you more when you like yourself, in that order. In that order. People will respect you when you respect yourself. A lot of y'all are preoccupied with looking for formulas and blueprints and ideas on how to get people to respect you, to love you, without having done the inner work for yourself first. Like, you don't respect yourself, you don't love who you are, but you are preoccupied with finding a formula or a cheat sheet to get someone else to feel the things that you don't feel within. And before I broke down, hey Jay Boogie, I broke down like the whole thing with self-love isn't about romancing yourself. To me, self-love can be broken down into I care and I'm concerned about me. I want what's best for me is really what self-love can translate into. It's really not that deep. It's really, really not that deep, UGC. So, with all the headlines going on today, it's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world, cataclysmic things, climate change, people going more crazy than ever before. To me, mental wellness is at the top of the list of priorities. Hey, TNC, welcome, y'all. I put up the guest link in case anybody wants to come up to ask a question. If you're going through an issue and you're not afraid to voice it in front of the club, then feel free to use the link. and came up to ask your question or whatever. Yeah, so with all of that, it's a crazy time we're in. And you want to be as healthy mentally and physically as you possibly can right now. It's really not about bullshitting around and living in excess, inviting gluttony and sloth into your life. Y'all need to work out, move your bodies, take care of what you're eating. We did a whole panel discussion on diet a couple of weeks ago with some fabulous sisters. And I want to say, about that, a lot of you got to listen to your body. I don't think there really is a one size fits all formula, but there's a lot of misinformation about health and nutrition and what it constitutes a healthy diet or healthy food. Um, Two things off the top of my head that I could say that most people would benefit from omitting from their diet are tomatoes and potatoes. They both have poisons in them called solanine and tomatine. You can look them up. Poisons in them that cause everything from arthritis to Alzheimer's disease. It renders you immobile. It paralyzes your nerves. It does stuff to your eyes. If you already have eye problems, it's not going to help with that. Let me see, what else? Diarrhea, discharge, frequent urination, numbness, bad breath, anxiety, all kinds of stuff goes on when you eat potatoes and tomatoes. And we're all told that those are one of the two healthiest foods, especially if you're eating the tomatoes raw. Look into it. You can look it up. You can look it up. Solanine and tomatine, two poisons that are prevalent in tomatoes and potatoes. So listen to your body. My advice to y'all is to start tuning into your body, not with just what you're eating and how it affects you physically, but what you're eating in here. What you're eating as far as information can affect you negatively or positively as well. And this is important, UGC. This is why, and when you neglect the mental part, you don't understand how it impacts how fast or how slow you heal. Mental and physical must merge together in order to get a different result. You can't say, for instance, I want a man, which a lot of you do, and then absorb Fresh and Fit, Andrew Tate, Kitten Heals, and Shira and whoever else out here that has an anti-message, an anti-relationship or anti-love message, and think that that's going to fortify your cause, and think that that's going to give you esteem and self-confidence to pursue a relationship that you really want to be based on care and concern for one another, right? Now, they all are right, and they all have points. I think the newest one now, her name is Princessa. I think now she's killing they're saying she's the female Kevin Samuels now. And she's basically bullet pointing why you shouldn't deal with men. Her presentation is heavily researched from what I'm hearing. I really haven't heard any of her lectures. But for those of you who give me feedback and ask me, what do I think or whatever it is, y'all are saying y'all are very impressed with her message of leave men alone because they're psychologically damaged. They are abrasive, aggressive, designed to hurt you. It's pretty much the sum total of her message. And it's It makes sense. For a lot of you, it makes sense. The message makes sense, especially if you've been hurt by men before. You have a frame of reference so that when she breaks down, based on her research and her findings and her expertise, that men should be avoided, it sounds like it fits. It sounds like it fits. But you have to ask yourself in the back of your mind, is that where you're going though? Is where you're going where someone, this scholar like Princess, is going to take you, which is to leave all men alone? Is that where you want to go? Is that where you want to go? And if that's not where you want to go, then the information that you're getting from her, albeit truthful as it is, will hurt you towards the success that you want to lead yourself into. It will hurt you towards it. You said she's the queen, the queen maker Clark. Okay, so that's her title. From what I'm seeing, she's blazing it up. She's blazing it up right now. So she's a new trend. She's a new it girl, and she's gaining followers fast, really, really fast. And I wish her the best. I wish her the best. I wish the best for everybody out here. Everybody out here who's doing their thing and helping people in their own way deserves to get a piece of the pie. My reminder to UGC is whatever you eat with your eyes becomes a part of you too. And if the messages you are inclined to absorb, the messages that you gravitate towards, do not help you get where you want to go, they will hurt you. The information will end up hurting you and actually end up confusing you. Actually, the information ends up confusing you. So y'all got to be careful. She has points, but isn't she a lesbian? It makes sense that she doesn't want care for men. Apparently, I think that has just surfaced that, her orientation is female to female. So I don't know. Those of you who want to delve into female to female relationships are going to find some value and some points. You said you never heard of her? Yeah, she's out there now. I think she has a book out now, maybe seminars now. Y'all might want to look into her. Those of you who feel that men are evil, because I know a lot of you here feel, for the most part, that men are evil. So you may find, you will find that information that she puts out extremely helpful to help you fortify your position that men are doggish, evil, sinister, criminal minded, and all those other things that you feel that these men are. She'll definitely help you solidify your suspicions about that and your beliefs about that. So it's about focus, and it's about being intentional. It's about letting go of your obsession with things. You can want something. And I used to say you got to be fanatical to get what you want. I used to be on that train. But I realized being fanatical holds a lot of elements of worry and anxiety within it. And it's not helpful to want something to the point of obsession, because the obsession part is the mental instability part. And it doesn't make the process of moving towards that thing that you want pleasant at all. You actually walk in fear, and counterproductive fear. I'm going to talk to you about fear a little bit while we're on the subject of fear. Fear is not something that you can eradicate, UGC. We kind of have to live with it, right? I often have content saying, face your fears, control your fears, and that sort of thing. And to an extent, you want to control it, meaning that you leave it alone, that you're not trying to beat it out of you, that you're not trying to not be afraid, but that you leave your fear alone. And listen to me now. You're leaving your fear alone. And in other words, you're not making what you fear so important. A lot of y'all, your whole focus and your focal point is to create this throne for your fear, your preoccupation with your fear. Your fear has its own house. It takes up residence and a lot of 90% of the space in your mind. You make fear very important. And you don't have to. And you shouldn't. Because number one, you can't get rid of it. You can't get rid of it. So you have to live with it. If you can't get rid of fear, you have to live with it. And if you have to live with it, you have to, mitigate. You have to regulate. You have to relax about it. Because the more you fight against fear, guess what happens? You feel guilt. You feel guilty when you're trying not to be afraid. Am I right or wrong? Because fear is embarrassing to begin with. Am I right or wrong? But it doesn't have to be. I'm afraid about a lot of things. And I have to do anyway. And I have to move with my fear anyway, because there's things on the other side of that that I need to accomplish, that I need to do for myself to maintain the things that I have, or go towards the things that I want. I have to go, you know what, I'm afraid, but it's okay. It's not going to be a big deal. I'm not going to let the fear stop me. And that's how you got to approach it. You don't fight. Because the moment you start tussling with the fear, you make it expand. You make it bigger than it needs to be. And by making anything bigger than it needs to be, you're making things more important than they need to be. And you don't want to make fear front and center focus in your life, because then it consumes you. You know what happens when fear consumes you? Y'all become a recluse. Because I used to do that. Don't want to be bothered with anybody, because I let fear consume 90% of my brain cells. You become antisocial when you let fear consume you. You become a professional pessimist. You look at the dark side, or the flaw, or the potential failure in everything when you let fear take front and center. You catastrophize everything. So if you, let's say you're going on a job interview and you're afraid that you won't get the position. If you don't get the position, all of a sudden now you're going to be living under the bridge, eating out of cans, or on the strip, maybe selling behind a dumpster. Like, you catastrophize everything instead of going, listen, I'm going to put my best foot forward here for this interview. I'm going to razzle dazzle them, even though I'm afraid of being judged. I'm going to show them what I know. I'm going to show them why I'm the best person for this position here, and how I can make this company money, and whatever else that I need to show them. And whatever happens after that, let the chips fall where they may. I got another interview at 5 o'clock that same day. So you could catastrophize. A lot of y'all catastrophize your relationship. You had a bad relationship 2 years ago. All men are dogs. I'll never get married. Men are not good. This and that. You've catastrophized all relationships, and you made blanket statements that you are not good enough to find somebody who wants to care about you. And that's what fear does. Fear blocks you. Fear locks you in a prison, albeit a safe space, because you're not trying anything anymore. And there's sort of some level of safety in not trying to do something that you risk failing at, or you risk not getting what you want at, right? But it is a prison. And anything that stifles you will dumb you down. Anything that stifles you dumbs you down, UGC. So these are things that you want to pay attention to. Fear doesn't have to be your enemy. Fear is what it is. And if you feel that fear coming up in you, you go, oh, okay, I see you. I know you're there. Guess what we're going to do? We're going to do this anyway. Guess what we're going to do? We're going to take the conference call, have the meeting, do the speech, go out on a date, right? We're going to do a mixer, meet new friends. We're going to go to that new job interview. I'm going to try a new hairstyle. I'm going to, eat right, whatever it is you're afraid of doing. You go, okay, we'll just be afraid, and I'm going to do what I need to do anyway. Because I can't let fear consume me. And what is happening out here in society, especially on social media, is that we are bombarded with things to be afraid of. And presenting things for you to fear is easy money because they trigger you emotionally. And a lot of times what you fear comes with much more, maybe 90% more emotional content or emotional stirring within you than the things that you love. If I asked you, how do you feel about men? And they ain't this, and the passport bros, and they're colorist, and they're cheap, and they're stingy, and they're stupid, and they're arrogant, and they smell bad, and you give me the laundry list, and your energy is high. You're intense when you're telling me why or what your perspective on men is. And if I ask you the same question, what do you think about money? Oh, it's okay to have. I do want a lot of money. I want to buy things. I want a nice car. I want a nice home, and I want to retire my mom. So I think money is cool to have. But when you're saying what you're saying about your feelings about money, there's no emotional fire with that. You see the difference? A lot of y'all want things. If I ask you, do you want a relationship? Well, if it happens, it happens. I'm not looking for it, but if somewhere down the line it happens, then I'm going to be okay. If it happens, it happens. No emotional fire. But if I ask you about what you hate, and this and this and this, and that time back in 82, I couldn't stand that. And this person left me at the party, and I had to go home drunk by myself and stumbled into work the next day. And I almost lost my job because my friends left me at the club, and we were supposed to be down for each other and leave with each other. That's the code. That's the girl code. And they broke girl code. And guess what? This guy tried to RAPE me because they left me that night. Different emotional content. Your emotions are on 100 for what you hate. You are fully invested and all in, all cylinders on, fully turned on when I ask you to describe what you fear or what you hate. But let it be something that you want. Oh, well, Saugus, I'm not fussing over it. I'm really not thinking about it. If I stumble upon it, then it'd be good. If it's God's will, then it'll be good for me. No, no fire. No fire there. And we wonder why the things that we say that we want elude us or seem so far away or seem unrelatable even. Everything is about emotions. And the reason why you're so obsessed with the things that you hate is because they excite you. And the things that you want, guess what they do? They embarrass you. They make you feel apprehensive. The things that you want make you feel a little self-conscious. The things that you want remind you, they cause reminders in your mind of why you don't have it, which is, I'm not good enough. So there's an embarrassment and an apprehension that comes when asking you to recall and describe what it is you want to experience in your life. You automatically go to, I don't want to think about that because I haven't been able to get it. Or, I used to dream about that back when I was 16 or 18 years old. And, since then, life has been lifing. And, just the thought of that reminds me of lack, of shame, of insecurity, of life's unfairness. And you retreat and you recoil. This is why manifestation of all types are really so hard for us UGC. We don't put our emotions, we don't put enough emotional power into what we want. We love to be fearful because in fear, we don't have to do anything. See, fear, it satisfies our need to be immobilized, our need to have reasons not to move forward. It fortifies us. Go, see what happened to her? That's why I don't do that. See what happened to her 2 years ago? This is why I'm not into that. This is why I'm never going to do that again. This is why I don't date. I don't try to do this. I don't go out. I don't whatever it is because such and such and such and such happened. Negative bias. And you're looking for information to fortify all your negative biases. How is that working for you, UGC? How is that working for you? Are you getting what it is that you want from fortifying all of your negative biases? I'm sure you're not. I'm sure you're not. And guess what's happening now? The clock is ticking. Time is ticking. We're already over half the year is already done. This is supposed to be the best year. This is supposed to be your year once again. And most of the year is already gone. And it's the same result. It's the same result because you're stuck on a loop of, I need information to help me feel better about my hatred of whatever it is I hate, whether it be men or society or whatever. I'm focused on finding more information to pad up or to make the lock on my prison door bigger. So I'm protected from the outside world. So I'm protected from possible failure. That's the only thing that I'm interested in. And UGC, that brings a result. That brings a result. Over the years, my coaching style, I tried different things to try to get a reaction, to get a response, to get you to get involved, to interact. And I notice as a content creator and as a coach that for me, the most interactions, responses, or whatever that I get are usually when I'm very negative about something, or when I guess seem very negative about something. I notice that the crowd loves it. When I'm cussing and carrying on, which, that has its place, right? Because that was authentically me too. That's a part of my personality. But when I turn that on for whatever reason, everyone's all in. Everyone's invested. Everyone's focused. Everyone's sharing. Everyone's excited about the negativity. And when it's something positive and nurturing and supportive, everyone's looking over their shoulder, bored to death. Bored to death. the engagement is not as much. So when I hear women talk about, wanting trustworthy relationships, wanting love, wanting care, wanting concern, the math don't be mathing there. It's just not, the math doesn't math there because the engagement is not the same. The engagement is not the same. So I have come to realize that we are addicted to negativity. Like Combo says, where negativity is a drug. It is a drug. It's a drug. Just like watching people implode on soap operas. Why do women love soap operas? Because we love to see people not getting what they want. We love the drama. We love to see other women in pain. We love to see the hate. We love to see women getting cheated on or left at the altar or beaten up or whatever it is. It turns us on. But women are very negative. This whole idea that we're supportive and nurturing more so than men is only because we don't pull the trigger statistically as much as men do, but we're just as negative. I keep trying to tell y'all that. And I don't tell you that to have another reason to hate yourself. I tell you that so that you can check yourself. When you're in the midst of these friendships with other women or relationships with your daughters, and there's certain things that you're inclined to do, maybe not consciously aware that you're trying to sabotage her, you can check that now because you're aware that there is a jealousy there, maybe a competition there, maybe there's an incentive for you to watch them suffer so that you feel less insecure about not having gotten what you wanted. So you can check those things in yourself. Because there's a lot of women that I talk to that are in competition with their daughters, unnecessarily so. And you ask yourself, well, why is that? Why would a woman compete and want her own daughter to fail? A lot of times it's because her own mother treated her like crap too. Her own mother told her she was nothing. So she's passing it along and initiating her daughter into the pain that she experienced. Women never want to feel pain by themselves. Women are always looking for a partner in crime or a partner in pain. And mothers are no exception to this. Mothers want their daughters, even though they say they want better for their daughters, really in the back, that's in the front, but in the back, subconsciously, they don't want their daughters to really win because then their daughters are a reminder of their insufficiencies. This is true. I had to realize this over the last 3 years. I was trying to make friends. If you can find one good friend, that's a gem. Yeah, yeah. Making friends it's hard. It's hard for a lot of women to do. And you gotta ask yourself, why is it so hard to befriend women? If women are so nice, if women are so conscientious, if women are so caring, if women are so giving, if women are so fair by nature, which is what we tend to say, is that we're fair, and we're not. We let a lot of stuff slide. We let a lot of stuff slide. We don't take the blame for things that happen. We switch up. We code switch in a second. We weaponize our emotions, our tears in particular. We weaponize that. This is what women do. So when I say these things to you, I say so that you can check when you're bullshitting yourself and other people. You can check yourself for maybe your incentive being that of I want to hurt somebody else. I really want her to hurt. I don't want her to get more than what I've gotten. I'm really in competition with her. And if you feel that way, you can step back now and go, listen, that's stupid. I love this girl. If I love her, why would I feel that way? Why would I want to put a monkey wrench in what's going on with her? Hey, Elizabeth. Welcome. So these are the things that y'all have to start focusing on, or you're never going to get a different result. It's about self-reflection, self-analysis. It's about taking time to go, okay, this thought came through. What is that for? What is it that I'm needing here? If I'm jealous, a lot of times your jealousy is a sign of there's something that you need that you're not getting. You have to ask yourself, if you're jealous all the time, what is it that you're not getting? What is it that that's not coming in your life and satisfying you? And once you hone in on what that is, can you go out and get it? Can you make a way for you to get it? Because a lot of times the jealousy is a sign of insufficiency in some sort of way. It's a sign that you need something that you're not getting in some sort of way, but then you decide that you can't have it. And then you decide, okay, I'm insufficient in this. And instead of figuring out how I can get this thing, you go to Fresh and Fit and I don't know, whoever else out here, and to listen to their commentary talk about why you're a failure and why you're inherently a failure and why you'll never be nothing and you'll never amount to anything. Instead of going, okay, how do I get this? How do I solve this problem, this issue? Has anyone who looks like me, who does what I do, who's my age, who's a single mother, this and that, have they been able to solve this problem that I have right now? Let me seek them out. You won't do that. You immediately go to catastrophizing whatever it is that you lack, because that brings you peace. That then sends a message to you that it's not your fault that you're a failure. You were born into failure. And you like that because then you don't have to feel guilty anymore. If you had nothing to do with your failure, then there's nothing for you to be ashamed of. And this is why it's so easy to go to, yeah, you can't. You can't have, you can't have, you can't have. Somebody has sent me, had tagged me in a link to a clip on TikTok where Shira was saying that if an unattractive woman is approached by an attractive man, basically it's bogus. He doesn't really want you. If she said, she said basically, I think she said, you know, you're busted, or you know, if you know you're overweight and you're basically ugly, and a man that's better looking than you approaches you, you should not take it seriously. He does not really want you. It's a game. And someone tagged me in the clip asking if I had agreed with it. And I didn't respond because I don't get into all of that on TikTok. But it was interesting, you know, 'cause I went to the comment section to see how the reactions were. And all the women were like, that's true. That's true. That's true. Shira's a savage. But she's right, though. You know, this is harsh, but it's true. 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 And I'm like, wow. So have you ladies never seen a woman who, as far as the rating is concerned, was less attractive than her husband or her boyfriend? You mean to tell me we've never seen somebody in a solid relationship who didn't match as far as looks go? But she made a universal statement. And I think that video got like, I think it may have got 400, 500 comments. And every last woman, whether attractive or not, agreed. They agreed to it. Some of them were concerned about, okay, well, what does that mean? Does that mean that I can't get somebody? I shouldn't go after somebody good looking? Does that mean I don't qualify for somebody who's attractive? Does that mean that I have to settle and go for less? Now, I have over the years, suggested that UGC expand your options and really not focus on make looks the focal point of how you're choosing men, because it just doesn't make any sense. If the person has good character traits and is willing to support you, take care of you, fall on the sword for you, is consistent, and because they're not an Idris Elba, you go, nah, I don't want to be bothered with you. To me, you're shooting yourself in the foot. To me, right? Now, I'm not saying only go for somebody who look like their face been dragged across a hot cobblestone road. But you don't shoot them down, and you don't dismiss them, and you don't be disrespectful of them, especially if you're in a position as an unattractive woman or an ugly girl, or however you compute this. Average, plain Jane, whatever, you're not an 8, you're not a 9. If you're a 5 or a 6 or a 7 even, saying that, I got parameters that I'm not willing to be flexible about, I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Especially if you have those parameters and you never meet your criteria. Like, you never hit your criteria. You don't enjoy the criteria that you set. So you have these standards now that you can't even meet. If you have a standard that you've never experienced, that you've never met, that you've never actually been able to materialize, then it will behoove you to go back to the drawing board and go, look, what am I prioritizing here? What am I saying is most important here? And if what I'm making is most important, am I able to attract that? Am I able to get that? Have I ever experienced that? Do I think I can get that? Because we can say we have standards, and it don't cost anything to have a standard. It don't cost anything. There's no investment in saying I have a standard. And to me, it's just like the vision boards I talk about all the time, right? Your standard is a vision board. It's a wish list. And we all have wish lists. But I can wish for something and still not think that I can get it. And that is what you have to examine that in your head. If you're wanting something that you don't think you can get, you're wasting your time. You're wasting your time. But that requires some deep level introspection and brutal, radical self-honesty. Because whatever you want that you don't think you can get is not going to help you. It's not going to boost your esteem. It's not even going to do that. You'll be wasting your time. All my relations was with unattractive people just like me, and I had no good luck. They wanted pretty people too, even though they was ugly like me. The ugly people acted like they didn't want to be seen with me either. Okay, Jess. So then how do you compute that now? Are you saying then is now your belief that you should go after people or men who are more attractive than you to avoid, and you'll avoid being mistreated, disrespected, ignored if you go after someone who's more attractive than you? Like, what is your belief system now surrounding that experience? Do you believe that ugly people are going to mistreat you? Now, which it sounds like I'm guessing that's what you believe. I'm guessing that's what you believe. So what will you do with that information or that experience? What will you do with all those experiences? And in all those experiences that you've had, you really have to examine, how did you show up for those people? What was it? What message did you send in your interactions that let them know that maybe you're easy to intimidate, that maybe you don't have any self-confidence, that maybe you are ashamed of yourself. Because respect is an energy. And I, over the years, have met women who have been disfigured, like in car accidents, like that kind of disfigurement. Y'all are unattractive, and you could easily put on some lip gloss and eyeliner and save yourself, right? I'm talking about women whose eyes are on the side of their head, or burnt victims and things like that, lost a leg, real disfigured stuff due to a life event. And when I talked to them, they were self-assured and confident and still optimistic about their lives. And guess what? All of them were partnered too. All of them had men in their lives, dedicated and devoted to them as well as disfigured women because of a life event. So, we can say they did this and they did that and they did that. But in a relationship, it's two people. So there's what part of it are you holding as your responsibility in the result that you got, is what you have to ask. I'm okay with dying alone. If a good person come along, I'm waiting. If not, I'm cool. So you're just you've just given the example of what I've been talking about for almost an hour now, about being lukewarm and dispassionate about what it is you want. That statement just has no power behind it. It has no energy. It's not going to move you towards getting what you want. You basically gave the, if it happens, it happens, I'm cool, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. So if it happens, you'll take it. If you're saying if it happens, you will appreciate it, then how could you be okay with dying alone if you're saying to yourself the possibility of a relationship is still something that you are entertaining, which means that you want one. So don't say I'm okay dying alone. If the goal is to be partnered in a relationship, you face that. You say that. It's almost as if you're ashamed of saying I want a relationship because all the relationships that I had before failed. So you've just given an example of everything that I talked about for this past hour, about fear and letting fear overtake you and being concerned with what you can't have. More focused on what you can't have. So say you had 3 relationships and they were all with unattractive men who dissed you or whatever it is. Does that mean that all men, whether attractive or not, are going to treat you the same? And if that is your belief, that's going to bring about a result. So the 3 dudes or the 5 dudes that you dated are not, that's not universal information. And the only thing universal, or maybe even an absolute truth about that, is how you showed up for each one. So you have to examine, yes, they treated you bad, but what did you do? What did you do in response to their mistreatment? What did you say yes to when you needed to say no to it? What did you give into and compromise your self-worth and your morals and maybe your safety in order to appease them with? What part of this is your responsibility? Because you have to lock that in so that the next opportunity for a relationship that comes along, you're not repeating the same patterns that you did in these previous relationships that failed. That's what it is. Nothing don't last over 3 weeks for me, so I don't have enough experience to further answer any questions. I've always been single. So wait a minute, Jess. Okay, sweetheart. You're saying that you haven't had a relationship that lasted over 3 weeks. So you don't, and you just admitted you don't even have information to come up with a conclusion. So then why would you say that you've had no luck Because you're saying that you had no luck with men. You've concluded that you don't have no luck with men in one sense. And in the other sense, you admitted that you don't even have enough information to come to a solid conclusion about anything. So you're saying you're always single when you've had 3-week relationships with, and that ain't even three. Listen, if 3 weeks in and he's already fishing around in your cervix after 3 weeks, what is the rush? Maybe that's why they end quick. Because I'm assuming you've had sex with them within the 3-week period too, and that's too soon. That's too fast. So you got to decide, either I don't have enough experience and information to come to a conclusion that I'm going to be single forever, or the 3-week relationships that I've had with 2 men or 3 men is an example of my fate. And that's really all that I can do. The 3-week relationships that I've had with the 3 men is me. That's my pattern. That's my life path. And there's nothing that I can do to change it. Which one is it? Because you're oscillating between the two. You know sensibly that the relationships that you had don't even qualify for you to make a blanket statement that you'll be alone forever. You know that because you just said that. You know it because you just said it. But at the same time, you're saying it'll never happen for me because that brings you some sort of peace and it makes you not feel like so much of a fool. You really just real time, you've been a real time example of everything I'm talking about. I noticed that over time, my remarks on what I have become increasingly lukewarm too. I realize that I utilize the "if it happens" statement as a safety net. Yes, because then you don't feel like a fool. Then you don't feel like a fool if it doesn't happen. The "if it happens" means what? There's no direction behind that. There's no power behind that. There's no intention behind that. If it happens, it happens is a very unintentional statement. And it's a statement of I don't expect it to happen because you put the word if there. So if means you don't think it will. And you wind up self-sabotaging yourself with the languaging that y'all are using on a daily basis, UGC. And these are the things that we have to, listen, you have to uncover your bullshit. You have to face your bullshit languaging. You have to face it if you want something new to happen. That's true. I had that realization recently thanks to you, Selkis. I haven't put focused energy into being partnered, just living out possibilities in my head. Well, sis, that's what we do, don't we? That's what a lot of us do. We live out possibilities in our head. And that's a female trait. The female trait is daydreaming. We're always dreaming about something. Everything is a daydream. And we think we're making progress because we're dreaming about things. Or we think we're making progress because we think about things, right? You think you're moving closer, or you think you're an intellectual maybe because you think about things. But if you're thinking about something that you believe that you can't have, how does that help you? Or if you're thinking about something that you put no action towards achieving or acquiring, then how does the thought of it assist you in any way? So we get tied up into the thinking aspect of things. We definitely do. When you put your all into what you want, it can feel like you'll lose your mind if you don't get it. Well, Candace, I don't know when you entered the this chat today, and y'all will probably have to do a replay. But I said earlier on that fear is something that can consume you because you make it too important. And the best attitude to have about fear is that, okay, I see you. You're there. And, we're going to do this anyway. That's really the best attitude to have about it. You don't fight against what you fear, because once you fight against what you fear, it just expands anyway. It becomes a monster, an uncontrollable monster. And when you fight with your fear, you lose steam, you lose confidence, because fighting with fear actually means you're faced with, or your fear is going to mirror back to you all the reasons why you shouldn't do something, why you can't do something, why you failed at something before, while this person abandoned you when you tried that, you lost your money when you did that. Like your fear reads back to you all of your failures when you fight with it. So you can't out argue your fear. You really can't out argue your fear, because your fear will say, listen, remember back in 82, the dude pushed you out of a moving car, and you're gonna try to date men after that, after that thing happened in 82. Remember that thing happened in 96? The dude told you were fat, and you're gonna actually put yourself out there and try to be in a relationship with men, and they may all think you're fat. So your fear will use references to make you stop trying. So you don't fight with your fear. You go, okay, I understand. Yes, I get that. Have a seat. Let me pour you a glass of wine. Sit down, fear, because we riding. You gonna ride shotgun with me? Because I'm riding. I'm riding. Don't fight with it, because you are just going to increase your anxiety when you fight with your fear. You just increase your anxiety, your apprehension, uh, illnesses of all types, mental and physical, come about when you try to battle with it. You don't battle with it. You go, yes, I'm afraid, and I'm doing it anyway. Yes, I'm afraid, but my fear is not a predictor of an outcome. My fear can't predict outcomes. It can only tell me at best what happened before, but it can't predict an outcome for me now. I'm not allowing my fear to do that. My fear has no authority to do that. That's really the best way to be, the best way to approach it. Never try to eradicate fear. Fear will go, wait a minute, bitch. Let me wring your collar right now and pull your coattail. You trying to battle with me? Don't do it. But in the back of your mind, you are still scared not to be picked. Yes, you're gonna be afraid. You're gonna be afraid. Who isn't afraid in relationships though? I want y'all to think about it. There's a lot of sassy women out here. There's a lot of self-professed witches and warlocks and whatever, spell casters and Svengalis and all that kind of stuff out here, pretending like they don't have any fear or apprehension, which is a lie. Which is a lie. Because if they out here casting spells and selling courses or lipstick at the same time, they got an agenda. They got a quota to meet, and they got bills to pay. Okay. So this thing, I'm not afraid. That's delusion. That's something that people they package that. It's acting. We all have fears. We all have fears. And the point is, you don't want to be afraid of fear. The point is, you can have fear, but you don't have to be afraid of fear. That's the sweet spot that UGC needs to get to. Not being afraid of fear. It is what it is. I'm scared of a lot of stuff, and I do it anyway. I do it anyway. Because this is my life. I'm not afraid of fear. I know fear is there. It ain't going nowhere. It ain't going nowhere. But I know, and I realize as I'm telling you all right now, that fear does not predict your fate. It doesn't. What predicts your fate is your belief about what you fear. Because your belief in what you fear now decides what course of action you'll take, who you'll meet up with, what you'll respond to, what you'll focus on, what you'll read, what you'll do. So it all goes back to, it's not necessarily, okay, this happened to me in my past, so it's always going to happen to me. It's, this happened to me in my past, and this is what I believe about what happened to me in my past. And based on my belief about what happened to me in my past, I have feelings about what has happened to me in my past, and my feelings dictate my actions right now, what I do right now. And that's what seals your fate. That's what seals it. Let me see here. I don't know. I can't make no one like me. I'm 34, never been in a relationship. I'm practically invisible in society. If people point me out as a prospect, everyone decline. All right. So you basically have said everyone in society doesn't see you. Everything you're reading off or writing off to me now is a belief that you have about yourself, about how society sees you. So yes, society sees you as invisible, but how do you see yourself? Do you agree with society in that you should be invisible, that you're not worth a relationship? And if you agree with what you think society thinks about you, then the first course of action is to change your perspective about you so that others see something else within you. Because a lot of times in relationships, people are just following our lead. People are just following the energy that we are emanating and we're giving off about ourselves. You want to blame society, but you're a part of society. You want to say society this and this and this, but you agree with society. How can you blame society for the result that you're getting, but also agree with society about how they feel about you? If you agree that you have no value, there's no one to blame. There's really no one to blame, no one to effectively blame anyway, but yourself. And no one can change that, how society sees you, but you. If society is what it is and they feel what they feel, then there's nothing you could do about that. But there sure is something that you could do about your perspective, your self-image, and how you compute your worth and if you're worthy of what it is that you want. You can know y'all, society is a scapegoat for a lot of you. It's a perfect scapegoat. Society. And then when I ask you how you feel, you give me talking points that you think society feels about you. So then you agree. So then say that. Say, I think I'm nothing. I have an issue, not because society thinks I'm nothing, but because I agree that I'm nothing. I'm the nothing that society says that I am. And once you face that fact and that reality, now you're in a position where you go, listen, I need to turn that part around. I need to turn that part around. And how do you turn that part around? Do you wait on somebody to call you pretty in order to, have some wiggle room or some right to claim that you have value? Are y'all waiting on somebody to say that you're pretty to do that, to affirm yourself? I've said for years on this platform, self-esteem is a decision. Y'all think it's something that bumps you in the head or trips you and makes you fall down, some sort of cosmic thing that you have no control. Self-esteem is a decision. It's a decision to put yourself first. It's a decision to say, my wants and needs are important. And you start acting like that and being like that for yourself first. Like you exemplify that within yourself first. So when people see you, they go, she cares about herself. I see it in her energy, in her vocal tone, maybe in what you're wearing, depending on what that is, whatever your style is. They see that you care and are concerned about you. and not waiting to be turned on by somebody else. Ugly girls are always waiting for somebody else to turn them on. You got to fight past it and move forward. You got goals to meet and life to build. I told my daughter this: everyone is afraid. You take a deep breath, you put one foot in front of the other. Everyone's afraid, y'all. We got a lot of sassy women out here parading around in tutus with G strings on and, very performative personalities. The self-esteem is very performative out here. And you feel that you gotta be sassy in order to, I don't know, or over the top in order to present or communicate worth when you don't. And a lot of times the ones who are really self-confident are really quiet about it. They're under the radar. You don't see them coming. They just sit back and watch because their goal is not to prove something to you. Their confidence is what they embody, and then they're not looking for your cosign. So they tend to be very laid back and very relaxed. Others of us who are twirling around, twerking around, and you know, dressing provocative and whatever else on show are looking for approval. Women who are on show are looking for approval. I mean, 1 and 1 makes 2. The maths. The math is mathing there. It's not exemplifying self-confidence. It's I need you to look at me and affirm me. I need you to see me and lust after me so that I know that I'm valuable. I need you to be jealous of me because then I know that I'm better than you. And, that's the whole narcissistic display is about me positioning myself to feel that I'm better than you. And if I can get you to be jealous of me, then I know that I am better than you based on how you're reacting towards me. And I need to be on show in order to test the temperature of the room. And there are plenty of women who are constantly testing the temperature of the room by being on display. They can't be quiet. You see them at the club or meetings, they all constantly walking back and forth. They always getting up to do nothing. They always getting up back and forth, back and forth. You've been to conferences, concerts, meetings, or whatever, and you see these hoes. They never sit down for 5 minutes. They got to work the floor because they need to be seen. They need to be ogled. They need to be eyed. They need to be stared at. They need to be talked about because they need to be front and center because they're not at peace with themselves. But unfortunately, that behavior is now normalized, and you think you got to do all of this circus shit in order to be seen and to be acknowledged. And a lot of times the acknowledgement that they're getting is from people who really don't. In their mind, they're like, "Will this bitch sit down? We done seen your ass 25 times at the conference already. Sit down. Go change your panty liner. Do something. Sit the fuck down." That's what a lot of people saying in their head. But it's performative. It's performative. True acknowledging your fears and still choosing to move forward, still choosing to live is the brave thing to do. Focusing on it will have you being an active, passive bystander in your life. Yes, Phoenix. And we not trying to do that passive, inactive, stale, sterile kind of life. We don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. Why can't I think I'm wonderful. I should have been married, but no takers. You think you're wonderful? You think you're wonderful. Okay. So you need to build on that. And that needs to be your default button. Instead of you saying that nobody wants you, because you started off saying nobody wants you. And that is your default button. And whatever your default button is how you really feel. Your default is your automatic operating system. And your automatic operating system is nobody wants me. I'm not worthy. So the I think I'm wonderful part is after you've given it some thought. You're now intellectualizing and you're now crafting a statement that you think it's appropriate to say because, now you're politicking. But how you truly feel is what you said before this point. Because you said that without hesitation. You came in on that. That was your introduction. That was your introductory statement. That was your unique selling proposition, as they say in the marketing world, was that nobody wants me. So you got to shift it around. If you think you're wonderful, then that needs to be the first thing that you lead with. And then you got to ask yourself, okay, I'm wonderful because what makes me wonderful? And can you answer that? Can you answer that factually? Because to me, self-esteem, true self-esteem is about keeping close to facts, not embellishing, not unnecessary embellishment. Like being truthful is how you build self-esteem. Being truthful with yourself, not necessarily with people, but with yourself. Listen, I'm this, and that's a fact. And I'm not only this, and this because I say so. I'm this, and this because I live it. I embody it. I do it when people are looking, and I do it when nobody's around. This is who I am. This is who I am when there's nothing to gain. A lot of y'all put on this is who I am when there's something to gain, and you wobble. That creates insecurity too, because the who you are is then performative. It's inconsistent, and you know it. So then you get this, you know what happens then? You have the imposter syndrome. You gain the imposter syndrome because the who you are is who you are based on who's watching you. It's not something that you embody. It's not something that you do unless there's a transaction. So you have an imposter syndrome because what you're being is transactional. And if there's no buyers, then you're not being it, and you risk, being found out as not being this thing because there's no buyer, there's no audience, nobody's buying tickets to the performers, there's nobody to perform for. So there's an inconsistency there. But true self-esteem is this is who I am when nobody's looking, when there's no money to get, nothing to gain, no applause to get, or when people are looking, when I'm on stage, whatever it is, it's consistent on and off the stage. In other words, you want to be consistent on and off the stage if you want self-esteem. That's right, Candace. Shake the tambourine. It's odd to me that self-esteem love has turned into putting on a costume and letting everyone know you love yourself. Yes, Ashley, it's extremely it's theater. It's theater. And y'all just gotta open your eyes and see women doing it on a daily basis. On a daily basis. And if you're sensitive and very observant, you'll start to see, oh, okay, she's just doing a thing. It's just a thing that she's doing. She's entertaining us. You're not getting quality attention when it's performative. You never do. You never do. I'm glad you said that, Elizabeth. Let me see. Why can't two things can be true? I'm wonderful on paper, but in person, every push the decline button. I'm loving, kind, loyal. I'm a team player. So you're saying two things can be true, that you're wonderful on paper, but in person you're not? You're saying you're not wonderful in person, you're just wonderful on paper. What does being wonderful on paper mean though? I don't get it. I don't understand. Can you explain that? How can you be wonderful on paper unless what's on paper is just something you made up? What do you mean? Or as far as maybe your character traits on paper are wonderful, but in person when they see your face, it's declining? Is that what you mean? A loving, kind, loyal team player. All right. So a lot of y'all claim to be loving, kind, loyal team player, but you're not loving to yourself. You're not kind to yourself, and you're not loyal to yourself, and you don't play to win. So you're loving, kind, loyal means that you will compromise for other people, but you will let those other people abuse you to show that you're kind, loyal, trustworthy, team player, whatever it is. If you don't have those attributes for yourself and you don't experience the love and kindness for yourself, then you're not really kind. You're not really loving. You're just afraid. You're just doing those things, especially if you're giving those characteristics away to somebody who doesn't care about you. That's not an act of kindness. That's an act of fear. If I can love you and you hate me and you're showing me disdain, you're showing me disrespect, you're showing me disloyalty, and I can still show you great, good, virtuous attributes through all of that and maintain that while being harassed and harangued and abused by you, then that's based on fear, not character. Because to me, if you have good character, you'll give those characteristics to somebody who deserves it, to somebody who will reciprocate it. How can you give that away to a demon and claim that you're a good person? How can we, and why do we do that? It means I will be your dream girl until you see my face. All right. So again, you're saying the sum total of your value is in your face, and your face card declines. That's what you believe. So what I'm asking you now is, if you believe that your face card declines and that you have no value because of your face, because if you really believe those other things were valuable, you would lead with that, but you don't. You lead with your deficits. You lead by communicating what you don't have, which is a beautiful face. That's what's on your mind. That's what you're afraid of. That's what you're preoccupied by. And if that's what you believe, why are you so surprised if other people put that first too? You're putting it first. You're saying the fact that you lack attractiveness makes you less than. And then if someone comes along and goes, "Yeah, I believe that you're less than too," you're saying you're crying foul. You're saying that's, you're being misused and abused some sort of way when you agree. You can have a face that isn't perfect and still feel value and still have value and still feel like you are deserving of companionship, of protection, of love, of the best effort of someone else. You can still feel that way. But a lot of y'all think, if I'm not pretty, I can't make demands, I can't have expectations, I can't assume that someone will care. You've tied in your worth to the way that you look, and people come along and match that energy, and you say society is toxic. How, Sway? Because in that regard, as I said before, you are society. You become the society you're talking about. You agree with society. You can no longer say society is toxic if you agree with how they with what they feel and their arrangement of importance. I told y'all before, I've had the privilege of meeting, talking with consulting with, having clients who are burn victims, lost legs in car accidents, lost all their hair, rearranged, face all rearranged, you know, burned beyond recognition, all kinds of stuff. Genetic defects sometimes. And none of these women were single. Not one. Not one. And the rest of us who have 2 working arms and 2 working legs and 2 working eyeballs, who don't need wheelchair assistance, don't necessarily need wigs because we got all our hair and all that stuff, are saying to ourselves, we are worthless. We are unlovable, unwanted because we don't look like who? We don't look like an exotical. That's narrow-minded thinking. That's short-sightedness. That's fear that has boxed you into a prison where you've lost all your ability to create. You've lost your imagination because you think you got to look like another woman when you don't. When you don't. So many of my unattractive clients don't move out here like they're less than and have everything they want. Many have it better than my really pretty clients chasing after man, kids, house. And that's real. That is real. So there's no blueprint here. When you embody what you expect, there's an energy that walks with you. And whatever energy you emit, you know, is what comes back to you. We like to blame other people for how we feel about ourselves. Let me repeat that. We like to blame other people for how we feel about ourselves. How is that working for you? Are you getting results from blaming other people for how you already decided that you feel about you? Are you getting the results you want from that? You're the catalyst. You are steering this boat. Remember, I have no experience. I went out into society and I have thought people would treat me fair based on how I treat them. But that never happened. People only saw me as an easy target for money or sex. No, people didn't see you as an easy target for money or sex. You were an easy target for money or sex. Say that. It's not that people don't see you as an easy target for money or sex if you're giving them money or sex. I've said many times on this platform, a lot of us know when people are not interested, but we try anyway. A lot of UGC girls can sense, like, this person is not really listening to me. They're not paying attention to the conversation. The only time they perk up is when we talk about sex or insinuate, you know, something about sex. That's the only time where I can get this person's attention. They're not really feeling me. And guess what we do anyway? We have sex with them. Knowing that and sensing that the only draw, the only thing that pulls this person's attention 100% is the possibility or the prospect of having a sexual interaction. And outside of that, everything else is mute. There's no energy, there's no concern there, there's no laughter there. There's not even any laughter there. There's no interest there. And guess what we do? We have sex with that same person that we assume is not into us. So if somebody's targeting you for sex and you're having sex with them and giving them money, whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? If just you're saying on one hand, you have no experience. So if you have no experience, you don't have an opinion. But somehow you don't have an experience, but you have an opinion about what you're going to get. about who you can get and what you're worth. You don't have any experience to give you a point of reference, but you have beliefs and convictions that are steering your boat. They're steering your boat. So you have to fix that. I always wanted a relationship throughout school. In 2 years in college, it never happened. Now almost people, I'm burnt out. I've tried, people didn't find attractive, still nothing. So it's not about trying. You know, when I tell y'all to consider expanding your options, it's not even, I'm really saying it from a space of embodying the ugly girl philosophy, which is I'm not going to be defined by how I look. That's our maxim. That's our tagline. I refuse to be defined by how I look. So if I make that declaration about myself, if I can make that declaration about myself that I refuse to be defined by how I look, I also got to make room for someone else believing that or embodying that about themselves too, that they're not going to be defined by how they look, that they're coming with more worth than the surface level shit. I got to make some wiggle room and some concessions for somebody else coming in with the same type of attitude, the same mentality as the mentality I'm claiming to have as a UGC girl. It's not about trying somebody ugly that you have no respect for. It's not about trying somebody ugly who you're embarrassed to be with, because a lot of y'all do that. Y'all try the ugly guys that you're embarrassed to be seen with, and think you're doing some kind of charity work when you the charity case too. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about really living with under the premise of human beings are human beings and multifaceted, and there's other things besides this physicality that people can bring to enhance your life, and embodying that as a true belief, not some sort of science experiment. Y'all making a science experiment out of people who run circles around you because they have more esteem than you do. Because the only reason why you're trying them is because you're afraid, not because you really live by, I'm going beyond what someone looks like. I'm not going to live my life being judged the way that I look, and I'm not going to do that to other people too. You're not coming from that space. You're going after unattractive men because you're scared of being hurt. It's two different things. It's two different things there. You're going to get a different result there if you're going after an unattractive guy because you're afraid of getting hurt, not because you're saying, I'm going to treat you like a human being and I expect to be treated like a human being first. I expect you to find value in my character, and my kindness, and my generosity, and my nurturing, and my loyalty, and my math skills, or whatever else that I feel is of worth to me. I'm giving you an opportunity to know all that stuff about me, and I am intending to know all that other stuff about you too. I'm not going to treat you like some sort of surface, a trinket, or objectify you. I'm not going to do that to you because that's been done to me all my life, and I know what that's like. But y'all are out here making decisions based on fear again, and you get fearful results. You get fearful results. I was really afraid after I left my ex, but I started to understand my part. I stayed too long, so the mission became to be the best woman I could be, and then she would attract a good man. Listen, UGC. It is, you know what? The reality is, it's not even about being the best that you can be, because that's grunt work too. That has a tone of I have to show up and maintain this sphere that I'm in, and if ever I falter and I'm not my best, then now I don't deserve what it is I was able to attain when I was at my best, if you understand what I'm saying. And that I got to be my best self also creates anxiety and this pressure to really be perfect, because you're not saying that you're trying to be perfect, but being your best self has a tone of, not making mistakes within your level of within your margin of error. You never make an error within your margin of error, right? And that's not real too. That's not reality too. That brings with it pressure also. I think your best bet is to decide that creativity and authenticity is what you will lead with at all times, because those move you towards things that are the best for you. Those help you to not hold back in saying what needs to be said or to withhold what needs to be done for yourself. It helps you problem solve in a way that works for you, that doesn't necessarily have to be a blueprint or a template for anybody else. You know, you said the healthiest version of yourself. I mean, again, that's what does that mean? What does that mean? Because you conquer something today, and then there's another challenge around the corner tomorrow. Y'all know that. You've overcome something before, right? You were able to fix something, mend something, repair something, do something, and conquer something before. And then another problem hit right after that. So, the healthiest and the best it really is no best, because life is lifing all the time. And you're up today, something pulls you down to the middle or the bottom tomorrow that you didn't expect. You conquer this today, and there's another problem around the corner that you need to address, that may pull you off your square a little bit, may have you flustered, and you have to readjust and recalibrate yourself a little bit. And that is life. So waiting to be the best is unnecessary, because there is no best. There is today. There is today, and you making full effort to do all you can do as efficiently as you can do it for today. But tomorrow is something else. Tomorrow may be something else. So it's like, this best version means that there's some sort of stable consistency that you're waiting to happen in order to be worthy of whatever it is that you want. And you're waiting for a period of time where nothing changes. It's always going to be here. And that's it's not possible. That's not life. That's not life. Allow yourself to be a human being. Allow yourself to be a human being, whatever that means. Up, down, circle, zigzag, whatever it is. Whatever it is. Let me see here. Why can't I look better than my partner and thought I was doing him a favor because he likes how I look. but I was humble when all my deficits were exposed. He ran circles around me, but brought me up to his level. Bingo! A lot of y'all, thank you for sharing that, Ashley. A lot of y'all get trapped thinking you look better than him, and that qualifies you to abuse him, to be emotionally abusive to these men. You think it qualifies you to not get cheated on or not have things happen to you that, you know, shakes things up in your positioning. And that's not a reality. Just because you look better than him doesn't mean he has self-esteem issues. A lot of these men who y'all look better than are playing games with you. Y'all been played. A lot of pretty girls have been played. Y'all think pretty girls don't get played? Pretty girls get played all the time. All the time. Because they live inside their egos. They're blinded by their egos. It's easy to play somebody who is blinded by their sense of importance. Those people are very easy to manipulate. Because all you got to do is appeal to their vanity. That's all you got to do. I'm so glad you're touching on not having to be 100% perfect all the time in order to maintain what we get. Authenticity is better. Authenticity is better. It's a healthier state of mind to be in than trying to be this best self. There's a pressure in that. What does that even mean? My best self. Does that mean that means that on my level, I'm not making a mistake? You don't need, listen, stay away from that kind of languaging. Stay away from that kind of languaging, UGC, because it's unnecessary burdens that you're placing on yourself to constantly be in a state of, I'm deserving of this thing. It's like a day in, day out evaluation of yourself. Like you're never not evaluating your worth. And it's like, that's a drag to go through your whole life. Am I worthy today? Am I the best version of myself today? It's not needed. It's not needed. It's better to ask, did I do what I wanted to do today? Did I do what I was interested in today? Have I satisfied my curiosity today? Have I found something enjoyable did I create an enjoyable memory today? Those are really the questions that you want to be asking yourself on a daily basis. Not have I hit my mark and am I my best self? Yes, pretty girls are the easiest to sleep with according to my guy friends. Bingo. Bingo. Hashtag my badge is trash. Okay? Hashtag my badge is trash. Y'all, this is why I say, listen, hashtag meet me at the monkey bars. Dating these days is not but soft porn, soft prostitution. It's an exchange of time for money, for perks. It's an exchange of you can touch me or fondle me or have sex with me if you buy me dinner, or dinner and a movie, or dinner and maybe pay my Boost mobile bill, or whatever it is. You give me a few more extra dollars, and I'll entertain you or I'll sleep with you. It's like it's a soft version of prostitution. It's not really a getting to know. It's a war of entitlement. So he's paying money, and so he thinks he's entitled to sex, and you want to take his money because you think you're entitled to it because you're cute. It's a war. It's a war of entitlement. It's very disingenuous. And the purpose of interacting with somebody is to get to know them as a person, to get to know what it is you're linking up with, if there's compatibility there, if y'all share the same goals, if you're moving in the same direction, if you like each other as a person. And it's very hard to get to that because there's so much pretentious stuff going on. It's so much pageantry and parading and pretending that goes on these dates that you never, the purpose of them is really never to get to the authentic, this is me conversation. This is me, this is what I want, this is what I intend. It's you know, you bullshitting each other for a couple of months, for the most part. You're bullshitting each other. And why is the bullshit being done for weeks and weeks or months and months on end? Because nobody's intention is clear. Nobody wants to make their intentions clear because everyone, both you and him, want something for nothing. And you don't want to lose the game. You don't want to lose the game. So you pretend. You pretend to like each other. You pretend to be interested in order to get something that you really haven't earned, that you really don't deserve, or that you really don't care about and you don't see any value in. A lot of y'all date these men, you don't see a value in the dinner. You don't see value in the time that you're taking to spend with him. There's no value in it. It's just purely objectifications going on. Pure objectifying each other is what's going on. Hashtag meet me at the fucking monkey bars. That's why I said take all the glitter and all the shinola off the table. Off the table. Lady Hamilton in the house. Good morning, Celtics Ray and UGC. Dating is supposed to be about getting to know each other. Men are more than a check that most don't have, and women are more than bodies and looks. You said a mouthful there, lady. You said a mouthful there. My pretty friends tell me that they sleep with guys on the first date. On the first date? Imagine dating 15 guys in a year and sleeping with all of them. Yo, on the first date? So y'all be out here jealous of these pretty girls. They get whatever they want. And these chicks be compromising themselves. You thinking they got all this preference and they could just sit on it and wait for this and wait for that and sprinkle. You think they doing sprinkle out here? Please. You think they doing sprinkle out here. These chicks ain't doing sprinkle out here. They're like, please like me. I want to be the center of attention. And that's why they end up on their backs. That's how they end up on their backs. Y'all be like, oh, you know, she's a preference, so she automatically can get this and this and this and this. Lies. They telling lies to y'all. I fell into if he's not spending money, he doesn't like love you trap. All these single women are screaming on the internet, dated surgeons, analysts, and they spend a lot and don't like you. Hello, UGC. Actually, I'm so glad you are here, stating, giving us another perspective here, because it's necessary. Because we got a lot of assumptions going on as to who we think is winning and who we think is getting the things that we want. There's a whole bunch of chicks out here claiming they dating upper echelon, high value, high identity people who don't care about them. There's no ring. Okay, yeah, you going on a date. Yeah, maybe he spent $400 on a date or whatever it is. Maybe, because you know I believe a lot of them numbers be real inflated. Yeah, he spent $500 on some gold leaf steak or whatever it is that he ate too, mind you. He didn't spend $500 on you. He spent $250 on your plate and $250 on his because he ate too. So your date really spent $250 on you, not $500, $250 plus drinks or whatever it is. So you divide that in half. He spent $1,000 on a date. Chop it in half. It was only $500 to begin with. And then was there a second date? What was there a marriage proposal? Was there come live with me, or I'm a pay you rent, or I'm gonna pay for school, or whatever it is, I'm gonna make your life easier? Or was it just, pomp and circumstance? Was it just flash? Was it just flash? We do each other a disservice. We do. We do, Lady Hamilton. We do. No sprinkle, sprinkle, and pussy power is 100% performative for other women. It's not really like that. Don't believe them. UGC, pretty girl is telling you what's up now. Listen, listen, and listen. A 30-minute date on the monkey bars will let you know real fast whether or not to proceed. As we say in my industry, it's best to fail fast and course correct before you've invested too much. All right, so we can apply business principles to this thing as well. It will help you. You keep all the bells and whistles out. You really get to see how interested or motivated a person is, because it's not hard to be motivated if you're drunk. It's not hard to have a good time if you're stuffing your face with cake and delectable things. If you're eating delectable things and you're filled with alcohol, you're going to have a great time. And you're going to think the person is great too. And then you're going to think the person is interested because you had such a great time. And if the goal is to get to know somebody, it's not really about a great time. It's really not about that. And I keep trying to get y'all to understand. He spent $500 on a meal for two he was going to have anyway without you, with another woman, or with his bro friends and colleagues. Hello. Hello. That part. He spent $500 with you that he was going to spend anyway. That's the key point right there. He was going to spend it anyway. So you're not that special. Relax on that. I mean, we know they're giving it up. That's why there's so many how to keep your coochie fresh videos on YouTube. Do y'all realize those how to keep your pH balance in your coochie videos all are close to 1 million hits or more? You just type in vaginal care products. I think I even have a video, a vaginal tightening video that I don't even go. I'm still getting comments on it. I don't know how many hits I got on it, but I'm pretty sure by now it's at least at 500,000. I think it's more than that. I think I got 500,000 hits or more on that video too. Anything about keeping it fresh is gonna hit 1 million hits. What is going on with y'all's pH balance? What is going on with y'all's pH balance? Stays normal if you keep your legs closed. Yeah, that part. It's one of the basic principles. Agile software development. Okay. Yeah, the feminine hygiene videos from beautiful women are amusing. They get so many hits. Y'all, I'm like, are we all smelling like codfish out here? Are all women smelling like Star-Kissed tuna and a can of anchovies out here? What is going on? I saw in the news this week that syphilis is on the rise. Oh, yo. All right. Y'all wrap it up. If you want to make money, start a boric acid line of products. Yeah, yeah. If you want to make money, just whip you up some of them vaginal suppositories, the yoni pearls. Y'all remember a couple years ago back when the yoni pearls first came out? And oh Lord, y'all, I don't know. I work as an esthetician and see a lot of vaginas. I want to tell most of my clients so bad to stop having casual sex. Hold on. Hold on. Wait. Let me take a sip. Hold on. Are you telling me that when I guess you're doing waxing or whatever, that these chicks are coming to you, opening their legs and fuming on your table? They emanating fumes when they're coming to you to get waxed? Oh my God. Oh my God. You would think if you're going to get waxed, get your soap on the rope, get douche, whatever it is you got to do, handle it with care. Make sure everything is what it is, because you got somebody facing that for at least an hour or whatever it is. And you mean to tell me they coming in there fuming? Lord have mercy. I was wondering what my waxer encountered during the day. Y'all are doing the Lord's work. Lord, we're selling soap to keep your vag fresh and wet. It looks like the same old glycerin soap to me, though. Wait, there's a soap out here to keep it fresh and wet? Lord, my OB told me the same. Ladies are knocking her out during their annual pap smear. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Your OB said they knocking her out during their annuals? You know what? And these are women y'all jealous about here. These chicks whose panty crotches look like mothballs, got a hold of it, look like termites got a hold of it. Their crotches look like it been dragged underneath some six-wheel truck on a highway from state to state. Oh my God. Yes, y'all, but it's not like they didn't try to clean. These are put together, wash, scrub women, but they're having casual sex and their vagina biome can't compensate for all the foreign germs. Oh, Lord. So, Ashley, you saying that the women are clean, scrubbed, washed, but they still funky. They still have a stench. Oh my God. I've heard a lot of women will have sex in the morning, then get a wax that afternoon. That can't be safe, and your waxer can tell you've been doing stuff. Is that what they do? Why would they do that though? You have sex in the morning and then go get a wax in the afternoon. Yo, yo. My partner said when he says his gyno rotation in med school, women were being effed up having multiple sex partners. What? Yo, all right, y'all heard it here first. Lots of HPV and UTIs. Yo, listen, UGC. What have I told y'all before? There's nobody to be jealous of. A lot of these cute chicks and uncute chicks walking around here, a lot of these, getting picked, exotical, or whatever it is, walking around here fuming, fuming. And y'all like, I want her life. I want her life. And her vag is about to fall out, just fall out on the floor somewhere. And you want her life. I can tell when someone has sex recently, they still juicy even after a shower. Ooh, wow. Okay. Okay. Ooh, the not coochie oozing tear gas fumes. Tear gas fumes. Yeah, y'all be fuming. Men don't care if you stink either. They still lay with you. Well, this is true. This is true, but we're talking about health now. You know, these men will lay with you if you smell a little tart. If you smell a little vinegary, it won't stop no show. But it's also we're talking about your health and well-being and best practices for that. Because vaginosis and bacteriosis and whatever else going on to make you stink is a precursor to all kinds of other stuff. And we don't want to live like that. But a lot of women are just really reckless about the importance of body counts and who they're sleeping with and how hygienic the person is that they're sleeping with, so that they're not, being a petri dish for disease. There's a TikTok lady teaching women how to bleach down there, saying it's going to look like a baby butt. I'm like, why would I want to look like a baby's when I'm a grown woman? Wait a minute. So wait, bleaching your anus, is that what you're talking about? They're bleaching the anus now? So that's what we're doing? All of this increases cervical cancers and fertility later in life. Yes, it does. Fertility issues and all kinds of other diseases and stuff. So it's not a fact of, it always goes back to, well, men don't care, and it's not a point of what men care about. It's a point of your health. It's a point of you maintaining a quality of life for yourself based on your actions and your habits and what you put up with and what you allow to enter you. You know, so you shouldn't base your routine on what you don't have to do because a man doesn't mind it. That's a death trap. That's a bad way to look at your hygiene and your health. A lot of y'all won't lose weight because you're afraid to lose your butt. A lot of y'all right now, based on your doctor's visits, he told you to lose 20 pounds or 30 pounds or whatever it is, and you're scared of losing your ass, so you don't want to lose weight. Don't mind your heart is under pressure. Don't mind you're having blood pressure issues and, spasms and all kinds of stuff going on. But you won't lose it because you don't want to lose your shape. There's a lot of women out here who are slow to take action on them physical evals because they're afraid of not looking cute after they take care of their health. Tushy bleaching is an old trick gay men use. Y'all better look at the origins of some of these trends. Oh Lord. Wow. Going nowhere is actually going to look better if you lose weight. All I'm saying is whatever you need to do to maintain yourself, if you're withholding doing it because you're afraid that you will lose your positioning of attractiveness, For men, you are doing yourself a disservice. You're just doing them because men are not worth it. Look at all the stuff that women are doing nowadays to be more attractive and sexy for men, risking their lives flying out to Mexico or wherever it is for these bargain basement BBLs and whatever else they're getting and coding out on the table and never making it home to enjoy the augmentation that they went there to get. All to be, I don't know, physically worshipped by men who, as y'all say all the time, will screw anybody. Why are you risking your lives for men who will actually screw anybody? If you believe that, which a lot of y'all, ain't this what we say? Men will screw anything. If that is the case, why put your life at risk? If you truly believe that, then now what is the point in putting your life at risk to be more attractive for men who just who like anything? I kind of wonder if it's possible that having multiple sex partners made fertility harder, even if they're all clean and tested. It's still too many foreign microorganisms. It is. It is. And your body's in a state of infection constantly. With every new sperm you introduce, your body has to fight it off. Your body has to fight it off. So you're in a constant state of toxic overload, constant state of toxicity. So that has to do something for your fertility. And investing in waist trainers and bands to build your butt when you know damn well that you can't spot reduce like that. Yeah, but the waist trainers, you know, whoever invented that right now, they all of them are millionaires. All of them are millionaires. I be seeing it on my timeline. I've never seen so many waist trainer girdle advertisements in my entire life. When I was 16 and 15, we didn't see none of that. Usually a girdle, if you saw a girdle, it was because grandma was wearing it. Who know what I'm talking about? Like the girdle stuff, it was stuff that, grandma wore. All that stuff with the bone in it and the straps, this and the apparatus, that, and all that kind of stuff. Your grandmother wore that stuff. Now, young people, oh Lord, I don't know. I don't know. Risking your health for body trends isn't worth it. I work in beauty, and the women who get the most work done are always single. Ding, 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 ding. Now, talk about that. There's a lot of chicks getting total overhauls, and they're by themselves. They are not partnered. They're baddies, quote unquote, but they're by themselves. Well, let them tell her, I want to be by myself. I don't want to be bothered, which is, a lot of that is a lie. A lot of that is a lie. And do we really want to be valued because we have a big butt? What about your creativity, wit, humor? Lady Hamilton, I wish we wanted to be valued for something outside of the size of the butts and all of that. But unfortunately, society, the cultural norms now are so powerful. They're so powerful now that that's what it's about. Above everything else, it's about how you look, and that's a trap. That's a trap. The waist trainers, not only back problems, waist trainers are out here giving chicks back problems. Right, Grandma Eunice wore a girdle. Yeah, the grandmas wore girdles. Now everybody wearing one. And not only back problems, these fucking stomach braces that women wear all day long, all night long. I remember seeing an article with this chick. She had kidney failure because of it. from wearing the waist trainer. She developed kidney disease. Y'all, I had to wear a girdle because my granny didn't want me jiggling. Me and my cousins had to wear them once we start filling out. Is that right? Well, I don't know. I'm sure it's a cultural thing for some people, but for the most part, what I see now compared to when I was coming up, the teenager, high school, and all that stuff, the stuff women are doing now was the stuff that old women would do. Young girls are doing or feeling pressure to do what was once things that old women had to do. I'm like, you're not even giving yourself a chance to develop and become a woman before you feel like you got, stuff to compensate for, stuff to cut off of you. It's crazy. It's really, really crazy. So there's that. But to land the plane here today and to remind all of y'all that there really isn't any woman to be jealous of. You don't know her life. And if you are jealous of her, as I've always said, is because you don't have enough information about her life. That is why you are jealous. Your jealousy is an overactive imagination and inverted creativity. Because it takes creativity to come up with a whole scenario about somebody's life who you don't even know. That is a creative act. So we all have the ability to create scenarios in our heads. We all have the ability to create worlds because you're creating that with every random woman you see out here that you're jealous of. You're creating her world. You don't know what she's going through. You don't know what she has to do or had to do to look the way that she looks or to maintain the lifestyle that she has or whatever it is. So you've used your creativity to fill in the gaps and to justify your jealousy. That's really what it is. So these things you have to be mindful of when you're walking about in your day saying, I'm not enough. I'm not good enough as I am. That is your imagination running wild. That is your imagination not having a direction, not having any real purpose. That's really what it is. I remember slips and stockings even in the heat. Yeah, I remember those too. Nobody buys slips anymore. I remember one time going to the store with my daughter, and she bought a white skirt, and I was like, "You need a slip under there." She was like, "What's that?" I was like, "Lord have mercy." She said, "What's that, Mom?" I said, "You don't know what a slip is?" I had to go show her what a slip was. She was like, "Oh, okay." Uncle, you are late. We are almost over. But I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you made it. So there's that, UGC. So again, to recap, listen, fear, don't fight it. It's always going to be there in some form or fashion. You don't fight your fear. Because when you try to fight against it, it breeds shame and it breeds guilt and it breeds apprehension. And you actually acquire more reasons why you shouldn't do a thing when you try to battle against your fear. Let fear be what it is. Let it be what it is, and you go on and do whatever it is you feel you need to do in spite of being afraid. Self-esteem is a choice. It's not something that you develop. It's really not something that you develop. It's something that you choose to be. It's something that you decide that you are going to have for yourself by saying, my concern is most important. My safety is most important. My health is most important. My happiness is most important. And you rearrange arrange the order of importance for things in your life so that it's reflective or coincides with the self-esteem that you say you have. Because if you're not putting your health and well-being first, then how can you say that you do have self-esteem? If you're putting the wellness and the expectations and the joy that other people expect in front of your own, then you're communicating a lie to yourself. Then you're living inauthentically. Because in one sense, you're saying that you care, but it doesn't show up in real life that you do. Because you care more about disappointing somebody else, or you care more about making someone else happy than you do about receiving happiness or being happy. So honesty is important so that you stop rearranging things in a way that's not conducive to the goal, which is really self-preservation at the end of the day. It really is self-preservation. That's all any of this stuff is. It's self-preservation. Who are you afraid of? Why are you afraid? What do you get out of being afraid of people? Because there's something you get out of it. Do you feel better when you beat yourself up? Because some of you do. Do you feel better when you pull yourself down and just do the blame thing and say that you're not enough? Is that does that offer you solace? Does that make you feel better about being a loser when you beat yourself up? For some of you, it does. And that's why you do it. That's why you like pessimistic talk. That's why you assume pessimistic or lackluster or results that you don't want. This is why you say that you're going to fail before you even start, because it makes you feel better about being a failure. And if the goal is to be a failure, then you can keep doing that. But if the goal is to get another result, then you have to dance with fear. And you have to dance with fear because what's required for you to get a different result is you putting yourself out there, is you doing something different, is you actually stating what it is that you want without a filter, at the risk of sounding stupid, at the risk of somebody saying you don't deserve it, you can't have it, who do you think you are, at the risk of all of that. That's why you do it, UGC. So, and that's the only way to do it. The only way to get another result is to face your fear, not fight with it. Not fight with it. You have to have a relationship with your fear, a sort of cooperation with it. You don't bully it because fear is going to win. But you go, okay, well, you can sit at the table. Here's your plate. I got a plate for you. I got a plate for me. I'm not saying you can't be here. I'm gonna make a plate for you, but I'm not arguing with you. You sit there and I ain't got nothing to say. I'm moving on. And that's what your approach needs to be if the goal is improvement, if the goal is getting what it is that you want. You also are going to have to fix your focus. If you are consumed by negativity, all you will get is negative results. If you are consumed by and enamored by and excited about hearing why men aren't shit, why this one is toxic and that one is toxic and whatever else, if that is what floats your boat, then that's all your focus is going to be on. And if that is where your energy, not just focus, but your energy, if that's where it's going, then don't be surprised when the result is nothing. I don't have what I want. I don't have what I want. Some of you are ashamed about what it is you want, because every attempt that you've made to get it, you weren't able to accomplish it. So now you've developed this shame and this guilt. and it's apprehension about stating what you want, because you're reminded now every time you state what you want that you failed at getting it. But one failure doesn't determine your fate. One failure doesn't determine, doesn't dictate your chances of achieving this thing. One failure, two failures, or even 10 failures doesn't mean that it's not in the cards for you. Stop catastrophizing everything that's gone wrong in your life. That's the first step to clearing the space and making space for a new result. Is stop catastrophizing past events. What happened back then happened based on circumstances, based on your mentality, based on what you were told, based on your circle of influence, based on the money that you had, that's based on the education that you had. So many factors go into the decisions that you've made in your past. And if you're saying you're a different person now, that means the potential is there for you to have what you want. If you're a different person now, if you're really claiming that, if you're really embodying that, why say I can't have it because back in 82, I failed? You are clearly a different person than you were 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, maybe even a year ago. Even a year ago. So why dwell on the past and want another result at the same time? They are conflicting energies. They conflict with each other. So you have to decide what you're going to be married to. What purpose, what cause? If you need a purpose or a cause to be married to, you have to decide what that is. And my advice to UGC girls is to clean up and do an audit of what you're concerned for. I keep telling y'all this. Y'all concerned about a lot of things, and it's fake concern for the most part. It's you trying to act like a good citizen, like you're conscientious, like you pretend to be concerned about things that you're really not concerned about, because then it symbolizes that you're a good person, and it's important for you to be seen as a good person within society. So you decide to care about causes and things and events and all that kind of stuff that happen because somebody told you that in order to be a person of value, this is what you should care about. And I'm telling you, don't care about anything that you don't really care about. Like the girl who just, saw the phantom child on the highway and supposedly was kidnapped and now facing charges or whatever, because she basically walked back home and doesn't want to talk about it or whatever. And they found out that, for the most part, it's coming out that all that was a hoax. She triggered a lot of people emotionally. She triggered a lot of women emotionally. A lot of women made that whole event into Black women are not protected. They catastrophized that event and made it a symbol, made her a mascot for the fact that Black women are not taken seriously, not protected and all that. Even though what's coming out is that there's some discrepancies in the story and that she might have been lying. Women decided, they're going to support this cause now, because this is a new cause, it's a new thing to be outraged about. And it just makes sense for you as a Black woman to be concerned about this, because this could be you. No, definitely not. It doesn't have to be you. Because you wouldn't say that there's a baby on the side of the road, or could even tell that there's a baby on the side of the road going 70 miles an hour, 65 miles an hour on a highway, and be the only one that saw the baby on the road, only to reach home safely and don't want to talk about your experience, not ready to talk about it, when there's possibly a baby out there who's, I don't know, abducted, abused, or whatever. And based on the evidence that you could give them, you could save the baby and you don't talk about it. But you have Black women that go, no, it's bigger than that. What is it? What is it bigger than? What is it? What is it bigger than? So now they've got a new cause to fist pump about, to be outraged about, to be concerned about. And I'm telling you, UGC, don't be concerned about what you're not concerned about. Don't be concerned about this because she's a Black woman. What she did is not your reality. What she went through is not your reality, unless you want it to be. Unless you really want it to be. And I'm only using that as an example here because there's plenty of examples, there's all kinds of stuff going on. But I'm using this because it's fresh as an example of how easy it is for us to be distracted by something new to be outraged about that essentially we really don't care about. We really don't. So that's what I'm telling you. Hold on here. I can't get this thing. I feel like Black women as a collective are more susceptible to this kind of thinking. Yes, we definitely are. We definitely are. Some want that to be a reality because it justifies their worldview. Definitely so. Definitely so. So you decide. Listen, if you're not into the pro-Black causes and Pan-African stuff and national pride stuff and all that kind of stuff, if that ain't really what floats your boat, if what floats your boat is you getting what you need and want, don't be ashamed of that, is what I'm saying. Don't be ashamed, and don't get sucked in to any armchair activism. A lot of these chicks foaming at the mouth wouldn't give you a dime. If you needed a pack of ramen noodles right now, they'd be looking at you sideways. All these fist pump feminists, you couldn't get a free meal from unless you could lick your snatch too. Okay? Let's be real about that. Let's be real about that. There's a lot of chicks you can't get no assistance from unless they can use you first. So be careful what kind of causes you're getting sucked into. She did a massive disservice to the Black lady image. Now they're gonna add psychotic to angry and aggressive image we already have. Listen, that is going to be what you just said. There is going to be a reality for women who are concerned about this, who are taking what happened to her personally. That's what's going to happen there. It's definitely going to happen to women who are now fearful of being judged as psychotic or whatever, because we're being judged. I tell you all the time. Listen, if you're Black, they think you're aggressive. If you're dark skinned, they think you're aggressive. If you're fat, they think you're stupid. If you're skinny, they think you're compliant. If you're old, they think you're worthless. If you're young, they think you're naive, right? There's always going to be labels. There's always going to be labels, and you can't dwell on it. You can't decide, okay, my reality is this because based on what society says, this is what I fall into. Not that it matters, but folks will use that story to justify continuing not to protect us. I'll say to that is nobody needs a justification to not protect you. They already have enough justification within them. If their thought is that you shouldn't be protected, this would not really fortify. This event would not change their perspective because that kind of perspective you already have to have in your heart anyway. You already have to have in your heart anyway. See, we all have biases, and we're looking for evidence of what we already believe. So I want you, credit solutionists, and all the Black sisters on this panel who really think that this is going to mark some event, some chain of events where we're just going to be pummeled over the head with, and that sort of thing. That's not the case. People will always look for evidence of what they already believe. So those who believe that we're nothing are clapping. Those who believe that we're liars and that we're insecure, because I heard it's something with her boyfriend that she did all this for. I don't even know. They have more ammunition now to just, throw stones. But they've already felt the way that they felt. So this right here, it just adds on to the foundation of how they already feel. It's not going to really change anything. It's not going to really change anything. Yes, Lady Hamilton, we look for evidence for how we already believe. I agree with you. It's a challenge not to slip into confirmation bias. For me, I catch myself and have to remember it's all in the mind. It's all in the mind. It's all in the mind. But some women who are worried about it, yeah, expect something to happen. I'm not worried. This is not going to change my life. What happened to her was a decision that she made, and it's going to definitely spiral and cause a chain of events that's going to happen in her life. And those of us who are deciding, I'm just like her, well, yeah, you're going to share in her karma if you feel like you're just like her. I'm not just like her, because I would never in a million years do or say what she's done or said. That's not my reality. That's not my reality. And that's just what it is. People's minds are already made up as a collective. Out influence isn't so big that we can change people's minds on a large scale. No, this isn't going to change anybody's mind. Whoever thinks you're nothing as a Black woman, been thinking that. They didn't need this event to come to that conclusion. This is just something to talk about over a beer. This is something to talk, because then, saying that would be like saying that a person needs a reason why they hate you. Don't need a reason to hate you. How many people just dislike you for no reason at all? You haven't given this person any specific reason to hate you, and they just do. And they just do. So to say this event was going to actually change something is like you're thinking like fairness, because then it would be fair. That would be an act of, I'm looking for proof to evaluate you, and I've gotten the proof now that you represent the collective of Black women, and now I have a reason now to disbelieve you, not believe you when you're saying you're in harm's way or whatever. I was waiting to know whether or not I should, and now this event has helped me form an opinion. No, not at all. I actually was shocked at how nicely they handled this case, law enforcement, and how they didn't really shame her publicly. Just let the facts speak. Also surprised at how the public focused on race. Hello? Hello, you said a mouthful there. We the ones focusing on race. Black women are making it a racial thing. Oh, they're never gonna believe Black women. Who said that? Did the white people say that? No, we did. We did. And there we are parading our insecurities and our inferiority complexes as usual. We made it a race issue. That's a great point, Selkis. We think that it'll affect us because we are Black like her, but we are not like Heard beyond that. If it don't apply, let it fly. And there it is. If it don't apply, you better let it fly. Because there's a lot of things going on out here that are not within your radar. And you like, it happened to you, but that ain't my reality. There's a lot that's like saying you go to a safari and get out your car to take a picture of a lion, and a lion drags you down and bites you on your neck and kills you, and you're at risk for that happening when you go to the safari. That's going to happen to you. It's not going to happen to you unless you get out the car. Unless you get out the car, or should I say, the chances of it happening to you will only be the case if you get out the car without a weapon in your hand, with a camera in your hand, trying to take pictures of lions who haven't ate yet. Then the possibility of it happening to you becomes increased because you behave the same way that that other person did. You thought the same things that the other person thought. And that's what it is. It's as simple as that, UGC. It will always be as simple as that. So y'all have to open your eyes. Open your eyes and see what's going on in this world. Don't take on causes, unnecessary emotional burdens of what's going on with other women. Don't take them on as your own, especially if you want another result. This fear mongering that we do as a collective has got to stop. We are our own worst enemy. At the end of the day, when you peel away the layers, we are our own devils. We stop ourselves from getting the things that we want. That's really the bottom line. That's really the bottom line. So UGC, I'll end it here. Of course, the replay is here. For those of you who want to replay, I've introduced a new girl to UGC this morning. Thank you, Small TV, for doing that. I appreciate the love. I appreciate all of you who share the platform because you're finding value here. Small TV, I thank you for doing that, for helping your friend or whoever it is, and hopefully she comes in. So that's how we grow. That's how we grow. I just am so done with the negativity. It's just so much. It's just to the brim. The negativity and the pointing the fingers and the making you afraid or ashamed of what it is that you want. Like we got to end all of that and focus on something else, or else we're never going to get to where we want to be. We're never going to have any UGC weddings. If that's the case, I want to hear somebody's getting proposed to. I want to be invited to some weddings and stuff. Can you give a shout out to Kenny Lynn Granadina? Okay, I will shout out Kenny Lynn. I hope I'm saying it right. Kenny Lynn Granadina. Thank you, Kenny Lynn Granadina. I hope to see you. Hope to see you. You said she's smiling. Fantastic. Fantastic. I appreciate that. Kenny Lynn, I like that name. That's a very unusual name too. Yes, so UGC, we are coming to the end of this. So just be mindful of everything that I've said here today. Your world belongs to you. Your world belongs to you and you alone. You decide what's important to you. You decide. Oh, Grenadian. Oh, okay. You decide what's important to you. You decide the road that you're going to take. You decide how your boat is going to be steered. You decide what's going to take your attention. You decide what you're going to, feel emotional about and what you're not. And don't let anybody suck you into this armchair activism and thinking you have to be mad about things that you aren't mad about, or concerned about things that you aren't concerned about. And they may accuse you of being self-centered, or out of touch with reality. And it's like, you're not out of touch with reality, you're creating your reality. And there's a difference in that. And you're entitled to do that, because at the end of the day, you can cry about what somebody else is going through and you won't get any benefit out of it. You can empathize with what another person is going through, and they have no respect for you. There's a lot of that happens too. So save your empathy and your understanding for you. For you. Okay? And that's it. That's the end of this session. Y'all, happy Friday. Have a great weekend. I'll see y'all in the chat. Let me know what you think, what you feel, what you're going through. And as always, I'm here for you all, give y'all a little bit of love and encouragement in this dog world, right? All right, y'all. Peace and love. Bye.